It's Tuesday, April 24, 2018, and it's time for Vanran10 on Sports. Wait, Randy, that's a Monday show. What are you doing? No, this is draft week, baby. NFL draft week. Love the NFL draft. I did the picks 32 to 21 yesterday on another video, but I'm going to run through them here real quick, just in case you didn't watch that video. But you should watch that video, because I need the views. So go watch that video. But if you don't want to watch the video, I will give you the list. Now I'm doing my mock draft backwards, 32 to 1, because it's more suspenseful that way, or because I just don't see very many people doing it and I have to just be weird. Okay, so at number 32, I had Philadelphia, and I'm not going to explain these. I explained them in the other video. I'm just going to list them off real quick so that you can see that I actually did do some of this work. So, at number 32, I had the Philadelphia Eagles taking Isaiah Oliver, cornerback out of Colorado. The New England Patriots at 31 take Mike Hughes, cornerback out of the University of Central Florida. The Minnesota Vikings take Connor Williams, offensive tackle, Texas. At the 29th pick, Jacksonville takes DJ Moore, wide receiver, Maryland. 28, Pittsburgh, Harold Landry, edge rusher, linebacker, supreme, out of Boston College. Number 27, the New Orleans Saints will take Cortland Sutton, wide receiver, SMU. Number 26 is Atlanta. Maurice Hurst, defensive tackle out of Michigan. Number 25, Tennessee, Arden Key, edge rusher, LSU. Number 24, Carolina will take a wide receiver, Christian Kirk, out of Texas A&M. 23, the New England Patriots are going to take a running back, Darius Juice, out of Louisiana State University. Go Tigers. Number 22, the Buffalo Bills will do a terrible reach and take Mason Rudolph, quarterback out of Oklahoma State. Number 21, the Cincinnati Bengals take Colton Miller, offensive tackle, UCLA. So now we're going to get into number 20, the Detroit Lions. Number 20, the Detroit Lions are going to take Marcus Davenport. Now this guy is going to be still on the board. He's an edge rusher out of the University of Texas, San Antonio. No joke. University of Texas, San Antonio. Doesn't get a lot of people drafted out of it. He's 6'6", 264. He has been climbing the draft board ever since combines and the individual workouts. This guy is rocketing up the boards, but he is going to slide a little bit because he does play for a smaller school. I believe he will kind of take a little bit of slide in the draft, but he's still going to be a first-round pick, which is pretty good for a University of Texas San Antonio kid. So the Detroit Lions, they need a little bit more pass rushing presence, and this kid should fit the bill, and he'll still be there on the board for them. Number 19, the Dallas Cowboys. Now I know they need a wide receiver. They just lost Dez Bryant. Their wide receiving core isn't the best. They could probably use a tight end. Jason Witten is definitely up there in age, but I think their defense still needs a lot more help, and they will take a defensive lineman, Vita Vea, I hope I'm pronouncing his name right, out of the University of Washington. Big dude. In fact, I think Vita Vea, he's a big guy. 6'4", 347. Big guy. Big space eater in the middle. You know, for me, I would love to have that guy, but I'm not going to have Denver picking him at the 5th pick. He'll be a good pick for this team, though. He'll be a space eater. He'll help the young edge rushers that Dallas has. I think they have one pretty good edge rusher. I think they have one pretty good sack guy over there. Having a space eater in the middle will help him even more. So Vita Vea will help the Dallas Cowboy defense. Not to mention plug up the holes for to stop the run and put the ball back in Dak Prescott's hands and Ezekiel Elliott's and let them run time off the clock. Number 18, the Seattle Seahawks. Now I know they need cornerbacks, they need safeties, they need a lot of defensive backfield help. So they are going to take Joshua Jackson, cornerback out of the University of Iowa. Now he's a little bit of, I think he's going to be a little bit of a reach pick there, only because I don't think, actually that might be right where he probably should end up. I'm just trying to see. Yeah, that's about where he should end up. But he's good size, 6 foot 196. So he's a good sized cornerback. Seattle's lost a lot of their defensive backfield seems to either be getting older or they're losing these guys. And you're not going to replace this guy is not going to replace Richard Sherman, but he at least will be a stopgap solution until the Seattle Seahawks become so terrible that they can get a top 5 pick. At number 17, the Los Angeles Chargers will take Derwin James, safety out of Florida State. Once again, I think that they could just use, he's 6'2", 215 for a safety, good size. It's almost linebacker size, maybe the weight a little bit on the light side for that, but a good safety size. The Los Angeles Chargers could definitely use some safety help, but I think he'll be the best player on the board. They need other things. I mean, they need defensive linemen and offensive tackle. They need a quarterback for the future. I mean, Phillip Rivers probably still has a good 3 or 4 years left in him, but this guy will be the best available player, and I think the LA Chargers will take him. And I'm trying so hard not to say the San Diego Chargers. At number 16, Baltimore. Baltimore will take Rashaan Evans, inside linebacker out of Alabama. This guy is, I'm trying to find, Rashaan Evans, Alabama, 6'2", 232 pounds. He's climbing draft boards. He really is. I mean, I think a lot of Alabama players, you look at Alabama, I think they play pretty much a pro-style defense, and Alabama's defenses are always really, really good. So I think this guy climbs the draft board high enough to get into Baltimore at number 16. They need linebacking help. They could also use wide receiver and tight end help, but this is a weak wide receiver draft. And I don't see there's no tight end we're taking at the 16th pick at this point. Of course, I could totally throw all that off. I don't think I even have a tight end going in the first round to anybody, really. I don't think there's a tight end in this draft that I would take in the first round. So Baltimore will take Rashaan Evans. Arizona's going to reach a little bit with Lamar Jackson as their pick at number 15. It'll be a little bit of a reach pick. But I actually believe that Lamar Jackson is going to be a pretty good quarterback in the NFL. And I'm hoping that the Arizona Cardinals give him a chance to develop, because I think he's a special talent. It'll look like a reach pick. People will sit there and say that's a reach pick. They're reaching way too high to get him. There are some people that are saying Lamar Jackson's going to slip into the second round. I think quarterbacks are going to be at a premium in this draft. I really do. I think everybody in the NFL thinks that they have to have a quarterback, and we've seen it for years. I mean, Denver has reached on a couple of picks in the last, 10, 15 years for quarterbacks. They've moved up. They moved up in the draft to get Jay Cutler a little bit ahead of time. They moved up to get Tim Tebow. They moved up to pull in Paxton Lynch. I mean, the sad part is, you watched Tannehill. Tannehill for the Miami Dolphins is a big thing. They picked him at number 9, and there were people that saying he should have been a second-round pick. So quarterbacks are just something that you need. I mean, they always say, well, quarterbacks get too much blame and they get too much praise. No, they don't. Quarterbacks, to me, are the most important person on the roster, because the ball, especially on offense, the ball is in their hands on every play. Other than a couple of maybe trick plays and a field goal kick or something like that, and punts, of course. But every, offensive play, first to third down, is going to be in your quarterback's hands. They are super important. So Arizona's going to reach, get Lamar Jackson, but I think it'll pay off for them in the future. Green Bay's at number 14. Green Bay is going to take Mike McGlinchey, offensive tackle, Notre Dame. Here's the thing, people. Let's look at the size of this guy first. 6'8", 309 pounds. That is a big boy. Aaron Rodgers is getting hurt a lot. You got to protect him in his last few years in the NFL. You can't have him missing games. They already saw that Hundley is not the answer. But at this point, you know Aaron Rodgers is one of the elite quarterbacks. Keep him upright, and the Green Bay Packers have a chance to easily win their division. But they have a chance to go far into the playoffs, and maybe, I don't think they're going to make the Super Bowl. I think the Rams and the Eagles are way too strong. And same with the Vikings and some of those teams. But you have a better chance with Aaron Rodgers. That's right, they're not going to easily win their division. The Vikings are there. So the Vikings are probably going to win that division. But at least if you can keep Aaron Rodgers healthy, you have at least a chance to make the playoffs. If he's not healthy, you're not making the playoffs with Green Bay. Number 13, the Washington Pro Football Team, because there are people that are offended by the mascot named Redskins, so we're going to call them the Washington Pro Football Team. They will take Taven Bryan, defensive lineman, out of the University of Washington. That'll be the first of them, because the second one will be Vita Vea out of Washington, the defensive lineman that goes to Dallas. But Washington will take Taven. He's a defensive lineman. Let's see if we can... He's out of Florida, 6'5". Oh, he's out of Florida. Why did I put Washington? Yeah, I wrote the wrong thing. He's out of the University of Florida. So, okay, so Taven... Oh, it's because he's going to Washington. I wrote Washington twice. That's my genius at work. So, yes, please don't put in the comments, yes, I know I'm stupid. I know it. I already know. Believe me, I know. So, Taven Bryan, University of Florida, defensive lineman, 6'5", 291. Defensive, he's more of a defensive tackle. Looks like 3 technique. Big guy. He's moving up the draft boards, too. It's a little bit of a reach, but I think the Washington Redskins bolster your defense. Your offense is pretty much not in the greatest of shape, but losing Kirk Cousins. But you got Smith, which is it's not a bad trade-off. But I've never been a big Smith fan, so. Believe me, he didn't do that much for Kansas City. How many Super Bowls did they win with him? None. Sorry, I'm just not a big Smith fan. Okay, so now we're going to go to the 12th pick overall in the draft. This is Buffalo, and this is why they don't. This is why they ended up taking a quarterback later, and it was a reach with taking Mason Rudolph. Because at the 11th pick, somebody is going to screw them over, their division rival, and take the last really good quarterback from them. But at number 12, Buffalo's going to take the best wide receiver on the board. And they're going to take Calvin Ridley, wide receiver out of Alabama. He's going to be the best wide receiver that's going to be on the board. 6'1", 190. Not a bad size for a wide receiver. Got good hands. He'll be good there. But Buffalo will take him because they need, they're going to need a wide receiver at some point. But they're not going to get a quarterback at that 12th pick, even though there should have been a quarterback there, because the Miami Dolphins are going to snake at number 11. The Miami Dolphins are going to take Baker Mayfield. And you're going, now wait a minute, they got Tannehill. Why did they need Baker Mayfield? Well, because Tannehill was injured last year. Tannehill's not even that good. I'm sorry. If you're a Tannehill fan, I do apologize, but Tannehill is not that good of a quarterback. Baker Mayfield will be there, and the Bills are going to be smiling, thinking, well, the Dolphins have Tannehill. They don't need Baker, so we're going to get Baker Mayfield. And then the Dolphins are going to put the little, they're going to go, we're going to take him from you. Baker Mayfield to the Miami Dolphins, just because Tannehill's not that good, and it'll just mess with their division rival, the Buffalo Bills. So there are picks 20 to 11. What do you think? Let me know down in the comments below. Please like the video, subscribe, and tomorrow I'm going to give you some more of the draft, because it's draft week, baby. So to all the troops, past, present, and future, thanks for the freedom.